Have Prince Harry and Meghan Markle misplaced $10 million from Archwell Foundation's coffers? Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and today we're talking about Harry and Meghan's impact report for the Archwell Foundation, where they cite a whole bunch of partnerships who are doing a lot, and where I'm sure they've contributed a little bit here and there. And then through Omid Scobie, and this is the sole source from my understanding, is that he was given by them a press release which said they fundraised at least $13 million, but only gave away $3 million of it. And it's unclear where the other $10 million went. Because of course, Harry and Meghan, they're not as smart as they want us to think they are. Because what they did is they released this impact report and no explanation of the breakdown of costs whatsoever. So what are we supposed to deduce about this missing $10 million? Is it in savings for a rainy day? Is it going to operations costs? Is it going to hiring? Is it going to expansion? What is the $10 million for? And why have we had no account of this, or really any funds related to Archwell? And frankly, to be just perfectly frank, it looks really, really shady. But of course, if you point this out to the Sussex squad, you are a terrible, horrible racist for pointing out that a charitable organization has failed to put together an account of their spending, which is what all charitable organizations do. Big and small, the vast majority that I've seen always have a breakdown of costs, including Catherine and William's Royal Foundation. So we will talk a little bit about this today, because I think for anybody donating to a charitable endeavor, you need to know where your finances are going. You need to know if you are donating to X organization, you need to demand account of how those finances are being used. And we haven't seen that from Harry and Meghan. And I don't think it is bad at all to point out that and go, hey, you know what? You're missing something very, very key here. And that's the money. Where is the money? But if you guys haven't been here to Royal News Network before, like I said, my name is Brittany, and on this channel I provide compelling royal commentary on the latest news and sometimes a little bit of gossip too. I've been watching royals closely for over 10 years now. I watch the British royals, I've watched royals across Europe, and I'm also a historian. And so I just have a lot of background about royals and royalty that I enjoy sharing and explaining, especially to sometimes an American audience specifically, because oftentimes I find Americans especially sometimes think of royals as just glorified celebrities. Well, that may be the case here when they're visiting here, but over in Europe, they actually fulfill a very, very important function. And so it's very critical to understand the roles they play, and that they're not just an elevated A-list celebrity, which is what Meghan thought she was becoming. But no. Honey, you're on the government dime if you're a royal. That's just generally how it works. So I founded this channel, and as part of that, in addition, I will be reviewing television shows and movies and sharing a bit about history too, because like I said, I'm a historian and I'm going on in my education as well. So I'm a glutton for punishment. Although it's not punishment to me, it is great, great fun. So I'm really looking forward to finally finishing out my degree. It'll be so wonderful and amazing. And this channel offers so much as well. So I have Royal Wire, which is a newsletter which goes over bullet points of some of the news that you may have heard about, some that you miss. In addition, I usually provide a bit of compelling royal commentary and some links to other things, in addition to very exciting announcements. So next week, those who are part of the newsletter, you will get a newsletter on Monday with a preview link to an interview I just did this morning with Angela Levin. It was wonderful. It was lovely. We talked a lot about Camilla, the coronation, Charles, the Queen, Harry and Meghan, Catherine and William. It was a fantastic conversation, just talking about a lot of things. And I just thought it was absolutely lovely. I was so thrilled with it. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. But if you are a part of Royal Wire, so that's on Substack, which is part of Royal News Network, you can get a preview link before everybody else. In addition, I also have a trip coming up to the UK, which the spots are almost gone. I can't believe it. I think I have 5 or 6 spots left, which I'm totally stunned. I'm so thrilled. And I can't wait to go with you guys. I think I'm probably going to do some sort of pre-trip to the UK, at least before the coronation, and I'll be going there as well, just to get all my ducks in a row to make sure I can give you guys the best experience possible. If you're interested in coming to London and then going to the Cotswolds as well, that is what that trip will be about, and I just cannot wait to bring you guys along with me. I think it'll be absolutely fabulous. fabulous. And I also have a fashion channel which may go on a bit of a hiatus just because I think I'm going to transition the content just a smidge. And I just don't have a ton of bandwidth right now to put as much emphasis on it as I want to, because I actually have a whole bunch of stuff I've ordered that I want to do a fashion haul of. Speaking of which, Catherine today went and she's doing sort of a pre-launch event for her next early years project, which is called the Shaping Up campaign. We've got an official release on that, and it is a campaign that is fundamentally about shining a spotlight on the critical importance of early childhood and how it shapes the adults we become. And so Catherine and William showed up. She showed up in this gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous Alexander McQueen asymmetrical blazer and suit. How do I know it was exactly that? Because as soon as I saw it, because I had been looking for something similar. And this is a preview, a bit of what you can expect to see on an upcoming episode of my Royal Fashion channel. I may have gotten a very special blazer, which I can't wait to show you guys. It's going to be a whole unboxing thing. It was very, very fun, and I think it's so pretty. And I can't wait to show you guys it more in person. It's going to be amazing. And so, but this is, I think, a great project for Catherine. She is very much focused on this first 5 years of life. And so this is something that is great on her heart. She obviously has children who have all been through that age. Louis will finally start to transition out of that this year. He'll turn 5 this year. So I think this is a project that's very close to Catherine, one that she's really been cultivating and really has become a passion for her. Now, I will say some of what she says, I feel like, yes, it applies that having a fantastic childhood and very developed childhood and everything can result in more stable and adults that are happier and more productive. But some people can also have great childhoods and have very difficult adulthoods. So I feel like there's some of that there that I would be curious to see how they suss this out a bit. Because yes, giving children all the great foundation in the world is fantastic. But sometimes even those with the best foundation, they do struggle. So I think it'll be interesting to see what this is all about and how she continues to cultivate this movement, because I think it's something that not only can she start in the UK on a small base, but something that she can really expand throughout the world and can show how royal foundations and royals can have a very different impact on not only local communities, but international communities as well. So maybe we'll see Catherine, she traveled to Denmark this year. Maybe we'll see her travel even more. So we'll have to see how that turns out, but I'm so excited to see Catherine in that. And honestly, I knew what that blazer was as soon as I saw it, because I've been looking at a lot of blazers recently, and I'm like, and the red, you gotta admit, guys, the red is, it's absolute perfection on her. I think red is definitely her color. And this project is housed within the Royal Foundation, the Early Years Center. And it's important to note that Catherine and William, who are royals, they get, to a certain extent, they get support from the taxpayers in various ways, bodyguards, some from the sovereign grant when they go on tours. So this is a couple who very much, to a certain extent, lives peripherally on the government's dime to a certain extent. So they do have this foundation. And what do? They give us a report about where this money is being spent, how it's being funded, to help people understand that if they donate to the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, where is their money going? Well, Catherine and William tell us this. They're very detailed in their financial report, which you can find directly on their website. I think it's not totally, I think you have to go to the bottom of the page maybe and click financials, but it is definitely there on their website. And so if you're interested in looking at the detailed report of how Catherine and William spend the money that is gifted to them through the Royal Foundation, they do that. And one little bit of thing that we do know is that total expenditure in 2021 increased to 16.4 million. 2020, it was 9.2 million, of which 15.1 million was spent on charitable activities. So that means 92% of the money that was donated to their foundation was spent on charities, giving the money out to other people. That's very, very good. And so that shows you that they are very, very serious, not only in raising money to help support others, is they actually push it across the finish line. And you can read, I'll link it down below, you can read the entire report for yourself, which is very, very detailed. It's not flashy or anything, to a certain extent, it's bland, but what it does is it tells you how William and Catherine are using the money that's given to them through the goodness of other people's hearts to really support what they're doing through their charitable endeavors. And what do we get from Harry and Meghan? Why it's this very glossy and shiny impact report, which literally tells us nothing except they're pretty much plagiarists. They told us in a Variety article recently that they were going to release an impact report, show the people how their money has been used. And I was knowing I needed to look for it, but I forgot to look for it. And then I saw it come up and I was like, okay, great. I'm looking to see how your financials are broken down. Because I've looked at these reports too from different organizations, Planned Parenthood, ACLU. They delineate, they map out how the funds are being spent. Now, not to the very dollar, but they give you an idea of their assets, their liabilities, what they've given in grant money, what they've received in grant money. So they really much offer out and show usually a year or two before how much money they've gathered, where it's gone, and they tell you as well what the organization is doing. Nothing about that is out of the realm for Harry and Meghan at all. I would say applaud that, go for it. I was looking forward to digging into, because I do enjoy this, digging into how the money is being spent, where it's going. I'm like, okay, let's get this together. I'm anxious to see this. I'm anxious to divvy it out. And of course, first thing, they have to give us this letter from our co-executive directors, because they just told us now that basically the guy who was with them when they were a royal, he's now been relegated to a co-chair, not a single chair. So he has a co-chair now. So this is James Holt, and he talks about, we believe that philanthropic work is more than a handout. It's a handheld. Handheld? So you're holding hands with people? Okay, sure. Not sure how a basket of bagels and coffee really is holding somebody's hand, but whatever. To activate this belief, we independently create dynamic and impactful programming to serve communities in need. We also partner with key organizations and leaders to identify immediate needs, build meaningful initiatives, and drive long-term change. Okay, so they're telling us that they do innovative and interesting things, but in addition, they also partner with people. Now, those should be two different things. So if I'm looking at Harry and Meghan's charitable organization, just generally, I would expect them to have some minor partnerships, along with them personally doing a lot more of the gift giving, a lot more of the money spreading. That's what I expect them to be doing. But no, that's not what they're doing. Because in their by the number section, and I will admit, I've looked at other nonprofit reports, all of them usually have something like this. It does not tell us what Harry and Meghan are doing. There's one project that maybe it was solely Harry and Meghan, everything else was a partnership. So it says 12.66 million COVID-19 vaccines procured for the global population through our partnership with Global Citizen. So who donated and gave away the vast majority, 95, 96, 99% of these vaccines? It was Global Citizen. Harry and Meghan, what did you actually give to this? What was your personal dollar donation? That's unclear here. What did you personally do besides giving speeches? Tell me what you did. Give me actual evidence of what you did. Okay. And then it goes on. 174,497 Afghans and Ukrainians welcome to the U.S. This includes 74,606 Afghan allies resettled through Operations Allies Welcome and 99,981 Ukrainians parceled through the U.S. under Uniting Ukraine with Welcome U.S. So what does this tell me? Did Harry and Meghan facilitate the movement of all these refugees? No, of course they didn't. Of course they didn't. They don't even have the bandwidth for that. They hardly have a staff. So who did it? Well, the organizations are citing American Welcome US and Operation Allies Welcome. They're the ones who did all the heavy legwork. And yet Harry and Meghan are saying, well, we did this. Look at us, aren't we so great? I mean, you're basically taking entirely credit for somebody else's work and operation. You're taking credit for it. Because this should be a simple thing of what did you do? Not what your partners did. What did you do? 50,000 meals served through a partnership with World Central Kitchen. Again, World Central Kitchen, picking up the vast majority of that. What did Harry and Meghan give? 7,468 individuals rescued from Afghanistan through partnership with Human First Coalition. Who did it? Humans First, of course. 3,673 individuals accessed our resource guide, Embracing Positive Masculinity with Ecumundo. Oh gosh, that sounds terrifying. And in a country of 320 20, 40 million, only 3,000 people access that. That's pretty pathetic. That's like unbelievably pitiful. 13 academic fellows addressing society's most urgent concerns surrounding social media at the Institute for Rebooting Social Media at Harvard University. Again, who's picking up the tab? Harvard. Harvard's picking up the tab there. They're not. They're certainly not. And then we finally have, and one play space built to foster community and healing in Uvalde, Texas. And that's the only project on here that does not have a partnership. Ergo, the only thing we can all say for sure right now that Archwell did solely by itself is build a playground in Uvalde, Texas. That's what they're telling us. That's what they're telling us. And again, there's more details in here, and I need to look through it to see if I'm missing something, but again, this by the number should be a very brief place where you can tell us exactly the monetary amount you spent on things or how you helped directly. These are all listing partners. And granted, yes, partners should be part of the equation, but this is the sole equation. The only project I know you did on your own was build a playground. That's 5 figures, maybe at the most 6 figures, like in the very, very low 6 figures. So how in the world did you supposedly raise $13 million? You can only give away 3 million of it. Where's the money going? Where's the beef, as the commercial says? So it does say here, our advocacy, so this is about the vaccines, helped garner public support as well as support of private companies. So yeah, they're there to shill to get money and stuff for Global Citizen and other people to donate. They're not doing anything. Like, shouldn't you guys live in a $15 million mansion. How can you not donate more to this situation? And at this point, it's a crisis that's mostly waned for most people. So time to move on from that a bit. And I should say as well, this is covering a span of 2 years. But again, Omid Scobie says they raised $13 million this year. It's so confusing. It's so weird. And so when it comes to the Human First Coalition, it says the Archwell Foundation played an enormous role, in fact, the most critical one in helping Human First grow 2021 to 2022. We are a young organization formed in the midst of a crisis and dealing with many ongoing crises this year. After initial media blitz on the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, and most especially with the invasion of Ukraine, donors quickly lost interest in Afghanistan, but Archwell has been there for us. We were able to provide humanitarian aid in various forms to upwards of 10,000 individuals in Afghanistan and Pakistan, most especially in the 4 months after receiving the grant. We supported the living expenses for approximately 1,000 at-risk Afghans living in safe houses that we operated in Pakistan and Afghanistan. But they have yet to tell us how much the grant was. I don't know how much the grant was. Again, you cannot cite these things and not give me an actual number. It looks shady as heck. And we've seen this time and time again of Harry and Meghan being praised up the wazoo for literally giving somebody a basket of bagels and coffee in Washington, D.C. or $25 Starbucks gift cards to 25 people. That's like chump change. Why are we expected to all be so impressed and amazed by such little effort and such little return on investment in so many ways? Again, just looking through here, no money given. Okay, so it talks about, oh yeah, I did do a search just of a $, and it talks about the grant they're giving, the total of $1 million in grants. So there's a $1 million pot where 1,000 gifts are going to be given to women, and people can basically, it's through the Ving project, so people can send in an applicant for that they think deserves a $1,000 check. And of course, it's Ving who's probably doing the vast majority of it, because again, we have no separation of who's giving what finances. This is crazy. So the Duchess of Sussex. This is good. So apparently there's an organization called A Twist of Greatness, which I think is wonderful. What they do is founded by a woman who's also named Brittany, and she provides free hair braiding for children in Antioch, Tennessee, because she and her volunteers understand how expensive and time-consuming it can be. The Duchess, who does none of that, by the way, recognizing that every action in support of one's community matters, wanted to help Brittany expand her work and spread joy. AWF provided a grant, so that's the Archwell Foundation. Why are you, because the acronym would be, yeah, you need to think about your acronyms. I think Archwell still is a horrifically bad name. It's a terrible name. provided a grant which has given even more children beautiful braided hairstyles as she and her team of volunteers provide free of charge. Again, a wonderful thing, but what did you guys actually contribute? So just to give you an idea, so Archwell did all this. They did all this. And who is their team? It's 4 people. James Holt, Shauna Knepp, who I believe is the one who they just hired. Disha Tank, who's communications manager, who also works for Harry and Meghan broadly, and Olentan, who's a program coordinator. And then it lists, I would say, 30 partners. So I don't understand why. And so this gives us nothing. I remember looking through this going, okay, you need a breakdown. Here's a couple of examples. Here's the ACLU breakdown. It gives you a lot of information about different aspects of the organization. Here's a Planned Parenthood one. Again, a lot of breakdown of the finances, where the finance is coming from, how much money has been given in grants from the US government. It's all there. You can track all the money. And we have nothing from Harry and Meghan here. Again, I was looking forward to digging through the finances to get a better picture of how their operation is being run. And of course, what do? They don't show us any of it. Catherine and William do, pretty much every organization does. Why aren't they? But of course, we get Omid Scobie. Omid Scobie gets the scoop. So Omid Scobie tweeted, the Sussex's Archwell Foundation has released a 2020-2022 impact report. In their first year of operation, they raised $13 million and distributed $3 million in grants across areas including vaccine equity, relief centers, refugee resettlement, and building a better online world. And somebody calls him out on this going, okay, where's the money? And he goes, so much conspiracy in these replies over a line of information I repeated word for word from the media briefing notes sent out by Archwell to journalists. That's exactly how it was stated. If you have a problem with me or my reporting, then please block. I am so tired of this. You should demand as a journalist to see these breakdowns. They can't just give you 2 numbers as a charity and call it good. That should not be appropriate in the slightest. You would rake Catherine and William over the coals for doing the exact same thing. And that is a pathetic amount. That what are they using the rest of the 10 million for? You literally, by saying that, and by Harry and Meghan reporting this, because I think they're idiots at this point, you give the entire world something to bash against you, going, there's literally $10 million missing. So you gave away $3 million in grants. Well, there was 13, guys. So where's the other 10? Well, it's conspiracy theory. If you go about it, you're just hyping up the terrible things people say on the internet. I'm so tired of this. Well, yeah, because you're a shoddy reporter. And I'm not perfect either. I do commentary and I misread something the other night. I thought the King of Sweden was talking about bedrooms and he was talking about bathrooms because it was late, and I misread and I said sorry, and that's would be done with it. But this idea that he has this access, yet he can't challenge them on this most basic facet of their business. This is a basic thing that everybody does. You need to map out your finances. You just can't put it in a private press release given only to people you deem worthy enough to have it, and have nobody call you out on the basic shoddiness of what you're doing. And not to mention the fact the impact report is from 2020 to 2022. So how can it be for just 1 year when you're reporting 2 years worth of information? So what happened in 2021? What happened in 2022? I have no idea. And I've looked and tried to look at their filing in terms of their I-990, and that hasn't been publicly available yet. Usually they are, and usually most organizations post them because then you can see who's getting what salary people are getting. So the highest level of people, usually their salary is publicly reported. So you know how much, for example, the head of Planned Parenthood is making. You know usually how much the head of the ACLU is making. Any charitable organization, you generally should know, because they usually post, or the I-90 is publicly available, how much people are making. We have no clue about that. We have no clue about that. And so that Omid Scobie dares tells us we can't question him, or that conspiracy theories, we're all conspiracy theorists. Yeah, and the reason for that is, and this has been consistent from day one, the reason the conspiracy theories abound is because Meghan and Harry are so obsessed with control that what inevitably happens is that they control something in an effort to, they believe, to steer the narrative. So they want to go, oh, look, we're competing with Catherine and William. We're bringing in the same amount of money as Catherine and William. See, look at here. We raised $13 million in a year and they raised $16 million. So we're almost even. But the problem is Catherine and William have given us everything we need to know to not look any further. Harry and Meghan only give us bits and pieces of information because they don't want us to look at the bigger picture, because they don't want us to see the man behind the curtain. They don't want us to see the truth about what is really going on. And that is, I feel like, nonprofit malpractice, basically. And you cannot expect the public to engage with your charitable organization if you're not giving us the financial breakdown. This is Charity 101. You cannot run a charitable enterprise and not tell people where their money is going, because that will inevitably be run into the ground. Now, granted, if they post that, I'll happily dig into it. I would find it fascinating. But that they think they don't need to shows a level of arrogance, narcissism, and just plain stupidity, because it gives the media a narrative they didn't need to have. And this, again, is what Harry and Meghan have done since day one. When it came to the birth of Archie, why people still believe there's a surrogate and everything is because Harry and Meghan had to be so controlling about the media narrative, and they had to get one up on the press by not telling them certain things, that it makes the whole thing look shady and conspiracy theories abound. Harry and Meghan, they are the catalyst for every single one of the problems they rail against. All you have to do is just be public about it. And I don't think they can, because I think they'll find that they're not getting that many donations, really. That I've heard, and I can't remember if this was confirmed or not, that they got one broad $10 million donation from somebody in Silicon Valley. So that could account for the $10 million that they perhaps got at the end of the year. And I think we'll find out that a lot of their money is not going to the projects they're saying it's going to, that they're very minimally involved. And I think perhaps as well, they're trading off their name and minimal and terrible reputation. And organizations are latching onto that so that they can try to fundraise by saying, oh yeah, we're connected with Harry and Meghan. I feel like that's where most of the fundraising is coming from. Because again, if you raise $13 million and you were able to give away, let's say $12 million of it, wouldn't you want everybody to know how that money was spent? But if you're not doing it, Harry and Meghan, you have a huge, huge problem. And that's on you. That's on you. This company should 1,000% give us a breakdown of the finances. That you're not doing that is, I feel like, nonprofit malpractice. And to the public, you look shady. Because where is that $10 million? Is it going to your mom? Is it going to your children? Is it going into your house? Is it going into your security? Are you using it to fund your private jet travel to certain places because, oh, you're going for charity, so guess what? We get to offset this cost and we get to charge this cost to our charity. Those are huge, huge issues. Massive, massive ones that Harry and Meghan need to take account for. If they're not doing that, their organization is sunk in so many ways. Again, I don't understand why it's so hard for them to do one simple thing. And that's just simply tell the truth. Let the cards fall where they may. Tell us how much you actually raised. Tell us how much you personally gave into this endeavor. Or is it like everything else, you guys are so overstretched and so untalented that everything basically is a money drain at this point, and you're just desperate for people to see you like you were when you were royal? So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think. Where is that $10 million? I'd love to know. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to see you again soon. Bye.